The New York Knicks have had quite the resurgence over the past few years. They went from being the laughingstock of the league to becoming one of the most entertaining teams to watch. The Knicks were able to make a huge splash this offseason, but before I get into that, I'm going to speak on the issues the team had in the past season that makes these recent acquisitions so special. On paper, the Knicks had one of the most talented starting five lineups in the league. You got Jalen Brunson as your combo guard who is lighting up any defensive scheme thrown at him. You got Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby holding down the forward positions, defending the toughest opponents while providing backup offense. You have Josh Hart locking down the best player on the court, and you got Karl-Anthony Towns, who's a top 5 center in the league that can provide spacing and immediate offense when handed the ball. This lineup was great when it came to offense because the two-man game between Brunson and Cat was working wonders, but the major flaw was the defensive side of the ball. During the playoffs, teams found the weak spot within the Knicks, and that was to attack Brunson and Cat anytime they were sharing the court. This was an effective strategy because Tom Thibodeau seems to forget every season that he has a bench he could bring out whenever the starters need rest. Anytime Brunson was on the bench, however, the team can never find an offensive rhythm because nobody was reliable enough to create their own shot. Anytime Cat was on the bench, that means the spacing is now terrible because Mitch is in the game clogging the paint. This was especially evident during the playoff series against the Pacers. This is a team that will constantly attack the weakness of your squad, and that is what happened in every game. They ran the pick and roll on almost every play that involved Brunson and Cat, and they just couldn't contain it. Then whenever Tibbs will put Mitch in the game, they will send him to the line, and we all know how bad he was from the free throw this series. The Knicks' strategy of keeping the starters in all game was the Pacers' dreams because they had depth to rest their stars while keeping the game competitive. Another issue with this squad was that they were ranked 26th in the pace, which means they were one of the slowest teams in the league. This isn't good because ideally you want many possessions you can get so you can create opportunities to score, but this team was terrible at that. Most of the offense was ran through Cat and Brunson, so the half-court set consisted a lot of dribbling, waiting for them to do their magic while the rest just stand and stare. This is the type of basketball that gets killed during the playoffs, and the Pacers humbled them badly. This series, however, is what motivated the new direction for the Knicks in 2025. They began their offseason by firing head coach Tom Thibodeau, which was a good choice because he never believed in his bench. They replaced him with Mike Brown, who has already established that he will be giving the bench unit time to shine. They finally made additions to the depth of the roster by signing Jordan Clarkson, Yershon Yabusele, and Malcolm Brogdon. Clarkson has been one of the best bench scorers in NBA history as he is a reliable on-ball threat that can buy you a bucket at any given moment. He ended off last season with the Utah Jazz averaging 16 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds, which is a huge addition to the squad because whenever Brunson is off the floor, they finally have the go-to guy that can get you guaranteed points. The problem with this addition, however, is he lacks the defensive presence just like Brunson. So it will be interesting to see what lineups he'll be in that will allow him to be the most effective. Yershon Yabusele is coming off of a career year with the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 11 points, 2 assists, and 6 rebounds after being out of the league for a couple of years. He was one of the key rotation pieces that was highly efficient from the 3, shooting 38% from deep while being the defensive presence in small ball lineups. He's a huge dude that can hold his own, and he has a high motor that places him as an important piece for a roster that is contending for the championship. The Knicks ended off last season with the 14th best defense, which is in the middle of the league, so Yabusele will certainly be able to help out while making the team more versatile. Last but not least, Malcolm Brogdon, who seems to be the biggest gamble of all the signings. The reason why I say this is because he has been pretty injury prone for his entire career, especially within the last few seasons as he played a combined 63 games in the last 2. When healthy, Brogdon is a combo guard that can help initiate the offense in plenty of ways. He can dish it out to the open man, create his own shot, and he is a solid defender who can hold his own. When he's at his peak, he's one of the most efficient shooters from deep, and that is a perk for the Knicks if he returns back to form. The Knicks were ranked 28th in the league in 3-point attempts, which is not good considering how the entire game is revolved around the 3-pointer. This will for sure change as they now have shooters on the squad who aren't afraid of pulling the 3-ball off of a screen or straight off the catch. Head coach Mike Brown emphasized that the Knicks will be playing a more up-tempo brand of basketball with improved ball movement, which has been evident during the preseason. Developments of Miles McBride will be fun to watch as he has been one of the bright spots outside of the starting lineup. He's a tough defender who could shoot the 3-ball, although he was pretty streaky during the playoffs. But it's okay because now the Knicks have ball handlers who could help in making his life easier on the offensive end, prioritizing an off-ball approach. approach. Mitchell Robinson needs to learn how to shoot free throws because that will make him more useful in the playoffs. Outside of dunks and free layups, he's a straight up offensive liability. Knicks made a lot of good decisions during free agency, but they didn't fix every problem that needed to be addressed. For example, the team has players that are really good at one thing while they lack really badly in others. Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Brunson are instant offense machines, but are prone to being mismatched drones. Yershon Yabusele and Miles McBride are great defenders, but aren't reliable enough on offense to give them the rock and go to work. OG Anunoby and Miles Bridges are some of the best defenders in the league, but also lack the consistency in shot creating to truly take over a game. They still have holes in the roster, but I'm confident that Mike Brown will find a way to use each member efficiently enough to no doubt be better than they were last year. I have the Knicks finally making out of the East and giving whoever comes out of the West a run for their money. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and sub up to the channel. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the additions that the Knicks made this year. I'll see you in the next video.